Hey, it's Steven with Jacksonville Real Estate News. I hope you're having a great and wonderful Friday afternoon. It is beautiful here in Jacksonville. I'm actually recording this one on Friday. Sometimes, just to let you guys know, I do record a little bit early, batch some things together, but not this week. You are getting the most up-to-date news on the Jacksonville real estate market that you can get. So this week, we're going to go over two things that I found interesting, and I hope you'll find it interesting too. One, what is the importance of flood insurance? Do you always need it? Do you automatically get it when you get insurance? And two, what's going on with investors here in Northeast Florida? Are investors making money? Are they not making money? Are things moving? Are flips happening? Et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, come on, guys, let's get into it. So first and foremost, we are going to get into the 4 misconceptions about flood insurance. I know you're going to be like, snoozer. No. This is going to save you a lot of money. Money. This is going to save you money. You want to save money, don't you? You don't want to just throw it out the window. Well, actually, if you don't want to save money, just call me. I'll come take your money. That's fine. If you want to get rid of it by not having flood insurance because you don't think you need it, there you go. So let's talk about the misconceptions about flood insurance. Many homeowners still think a standard property insurance covers flooding. It doesn't. It doesn't. Go, pause me. Go find your homeowner's insurance policy. Most of you probably won't be able to find it, but for my type A people who are OCD and have it in a filing cabinet somewhere, go find it. You will see that it does not cover flooding. It doesn't. So let's get into it. A typical homeowner's insurance policy covers water damage from a sink or a bathtub overflowing, but won't help you with flood damage caused by serious storms. Yep, serious storms. Something many homeowners only discover after it's too late. However, some insurance companies offer coverage to help fill the gaps, so you don't have to pay out of pocket for repairs and replacements. Yes, talk to your insurance agent. If you need an insurance agent here in Northeast Florida, please put a comment below. I'm happy to share any of my contacts with you so that you guys don't lose out. Only people who live in floodplains need flood insurance. You'll find this really interesting. This is what jumped me on this article. This kind of geeked me out. A national survey commissioned by Erie Insurance found that 53% of homeowners think only people who live in a high-risk flood zone should buy flood insurance. However, 25% of flood claims are filed by people who live outside of those areas. Seriously, 25% of flood claims are filed by people who live outside of high-risk flood plains. Yeah. Additionally, FEMA says floodwater only needs to get a mere 3 inches high to make it likely that you would need to replace drywall, baseboards, paint, insulation, all that good stuff. So let's talk about this for a second. We here in Florida, and we all know this, we all run into this, we see this. We're in Florida. We're thinking about, man, it's going to flood. We have hurricanes all the time. If you've watched the channel, if you checked into it before, one of the great things about Jacksonville is that we are on the westernmost point of the eastern seaboard. So we have less than a 1% chance to get a Category 5 hurricane. When that happens, there's going to be flooding. But outside of that, we do have some flood areas. We have some areas, and I'm thinking down kind of in the Black Creek area. There's some places down in St. Augustine Beach, Volcano Beach. Those places get flooded even though there isn't a hurricane. There is a possibility that there is a flood. It could happen. So we always think, hey, we need flood insurance for hurricanes. Not really. We kind of even more need flood insurance if you're in an area that is prone to flooding. When you are looking at houses, one, please go and do this. Check the FEMA website, guys. Just go and look at it. Make sure if you're in a floodplain or not. You are going to know. You need that. If you're in a floodplain, get flood insurance. Please get flood insurance. If you're not in a floodplain, really look at it. Talk to your insurance agent. Once again, if you need an insurance agent, comment down below. I will help you find one. I've got multiple here, and they give relatively good rates on flood insurance. But you guys need to know that. You guys need to have the tools in your toolbox to decide whether you need flood insurance or not. It's not as much as you would think. I had a family down, and this was a couple of years ago, down in the St. Augustine area. They were in a floodplain. They were in a 2,600 square foot house, and their flood insurance cost them like $800 a year. $800 a year when the house was $750,000. Is $800 a year worth it? I think so. I wouldn't want to take that risk, but once again, that's for you to decide. You need to think about that when you're going through things. Now, here's another one. There's nothing you can do to prevent flood damage. There's some stuff that you can do. I know I've done it on my own house. It's really drainage around your house. This says here, and for us Florida people, we don't get a lot of these. For my northern folks who are watching the channel, shout out to my northern people above the Mason-Dixon line. You know what a sump pump is. Down here, we don't use them a lot, but they are available. Install a sump pump, or what you can do is go ahead and work on getting a French drain. If you run a French drain along the outside of your house, and then you tunnel it or move it back to the back of your property or into a preserve, or even you can go into the sewer system, that really does a very good job of moving water away from your house and away from your foundation. So there's different things that you can do. Make sure you've got good storm drains, downspouts. All of that is very, very good for you to do. Guys, you're spending a lot of money. It's your most valuable asset. Spend some time thinking about gutters, about drainage. Spend some time doing it. It's only going to save you money. Last and finally, many homeowners don't realize they may be able to get reimbursed for taking steps to protect their homes when flooding is imminent. One example, under certain circumstances, and guys, don't take this as gospel. Talk to your insurance agent, please. Don't go, hey, Steven said I could get reimbursed for this, and then you just send me a bill. Guys, don't do that. Talk to your insurance agent, please. Be educated, be informed for what you're doing in your house. It's a lot of money. You take a look at it. Erie Insurance will reimburse homeowners up to $10,000 for materials such as sandbags, sand to fill them, for temporary levees, pumps, plastics. Guys, I don't know this. Talk to your insurance agent about it, please. And if you get anything from this, just take it seriously. Take 5 minutes to think about, do I need flood insurance? How's my yard looking? Do I get a lot of standing water in my yard? If you do, just do something. Make some phone calls. If you need irrigation people, if you need French drain people, comment below. I'll share them with you. I don't make any money off this. I just want you to be protected and your family to be safe. If we've got a crazy storm or you get excess water in your yard, protect your family, protect your investment. Next, this one just really excites me. I love seeing people flip houses. I love not only working with owner occupants, but I love working with investors. And so this is kind of crazy, like really kind of crazy. Investors lost money on 1 out of 7 sales in March. 1 out of 7. An increasing percentage of investors lost out money on a home sale or 2. In Florida, Jacksonville saw the greatest share of investor losses. Jacksonville saw the greatest share of investor losses. Let's figure out why that is and then how it can benefit you, the homeowner who wants to go out and buy a house. Not the homeowner, but the home buyer who wants to go buy a house. Roughly 1 out of every 7 U.S. homes sold by an investor in March sold for less than the investor bought it for. Wow. Less than the investor bought it for. Not even less than what they bought, put into it, and then they lost money. Less than what they bought it for. That's comparable with February's 14.5, the highest since 2016. Wow. Also, nearly triple the share of a year earlier compares to the low record of 2.8% by May. By comparison, 4.8% of overall U.S. March homes sold at a loss. Guys, you know me. I love numbers. I love looking at numbers. That's a pretty interesting number, and that's over the U.S. Once again, I don't think that's Jacksonville, but 4.8% of overall U.S. March home sales sold at a loss. Huh. There you go. Redfin defining an investor as any institution or business that purchases residential real estate, including both large companies and mom and pop investors. While most housing investors, 6 out of 7, still reap gains, these gains have shrunk. That is true. We're going to get into that in a second. The typical investor who sold a home in March sold it for 45.9% more than the price they paid for it. Okay, that's about right. When we talk about this, they're going to buy it here. They're going to put a lot of things into it, and then they're going to sell it. They've got to make margin. There's nothing wrong with investors. There's wrong with bad investors who do shoddy work and just put lipstick on a pig. But I know a lot of investors who put a lot of time, energy, and effort. They put a lot of care to putting a great house on the market so that somebody could go and live and build memories there. So there are good and bad, just like with anything. Sometimes they get a bad name, and I'll be the first one to say, hey, some of these guys are bad, but some of them are really good. So those gains don't equal profit because money they spent to improve the property. So here we go. I recently showed one of my buyers a 3-bedroom single-family home in Glendale. That's not in Jacksonville, of course. That was listed by an investor. My client ultimately found another house they liked better. The investor ended up losing $20,000. The investor bought the home for $450,000, sold it for $80,000, but put $50,000 of work into it. The house also sold below $550,000 list price after sitting on the market for 4 months. Now, not only that, there's going to be expenses that go into that. So that's what kind of everybody forgets is they've got to sell it. There's selling it with transfer taxes, real estate commissions, and then also when an investor sells a house, they're going to have to pay capital gains. Yeah, they're going to have to pay capital gains. So it's a challenging business. So why is some of this happening? Well, rising mortgage rates and falling buyer demand. Now, back when we were talking 2 years ago during the pandemic, I worked with investors. You could buy a house, do some stuff to it, put it on the market. You're going to get whatever you're going to get. Not now. Not today. It's just not happening. We're not seeing it. Now, this is what I wanted to get to. And we're going to kind of skip through this. Analyze Redfin. Let's see. The highest share of 40 metros Redfin analyzed, more than double the national rate. Las Vegas, Jacksonville, 20.9. Sacramento, Charlotte. In general, the highest percentage of losses by both investors and individual buyers were metro areas where home sales soared during the pandemic. Pandemic boom towns are seeing home prices and sales fall relatively quickly because housing costs surge unsustainable levels during the pandemic. Elevated mortgage rates also added fuel to the fire. So now, let's talk about this a little bit more, guys. What does this mean? It means that, and they're saying that pandemic and places like that where we saw a really big jump, yes, we did see a really big jump. With that really big jump, at the same time, we're not seeing it drop as much as we thought it would drop in the past. We're seeing it continue to kind of balance out. And with it balancing out, there's just not as much margin for a lot of these investors to make money on it. So we're not seeing a lot of homes come on the market right now that are good for investors. one big play that comes into this is Open Door. You might have seen them. You've probably got something in the mail from them. But what Open Door does is they're an institutional investor who's a flipper. They buy it, they'll put on some carpet, some paint, fix, boom, sell it, put it back on the market. They have lost hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars. So we're starting to see a lot of the institutional investors get out of Jacksonville, but a lot of it is the mom and pops. And I don't say that in a negative way. I just say people who they're not institutional investors. So what that means for you as a home buyer, if you're looking to buy a home, that's going to give you more options because there's investors out there who they want to sell their properties. With interest rates being so high, demand is kind of shuddering a little bit. I wouldn't say demand is plummeting. I think some of that is just clickbait, but I don't think demand is plummeting. It's just shuddering a little bit. And you're going to have an opportunity to get a good deal on a house. You really will. I've said it over and over after the past couple months. Watch the channel. Oh, please, I never said this. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. You were watching YouTube. You hear people say it all the time. I just haven't come up with a good line to get people to say it, so do what you do. But it's going to give you a greater opportunity to buy because if they do find one, they do flip it, they're going to make sure they're not going to want to hold on to this, guys. They're not. They've got holding costs. They're not going to put a couple $100,000 out and just sit for months and months and months. No, they want to sell it. That is their business. Buy, add, sell, make a profit, rinse and repeat. That's what they're doing over and over and over again. So, yeah, you're going to have a greater advantage if you are buying right now in Jacksonville. So I know we kind of went over through two different varying topics today. We went over home insurance and what's the key with flood insurance. Please make a phone call, walk around your backyard, go check it out. We got standing water. Let's call somebody. Let's figure it out so something bad doesn't happen. And then when it comes to investors, when it comes to people flipping houses and what that means to you as a buyer looking for a home, you got more opportunity. What's wrong with more opportunity? Like I said before, and I say all the time, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please throw them down below. I'll be happy to respond to them as soon as I can. In Jacksonville, you have a wonderful and amazing day.